Everybody tells me, "Oh, you're doing all the right things. You're doing it perfectly. This is it. Your pitches are great. Your posts are good. You're hiring the right." And it still doesn't mean you're going to sell books. It's a fickle business, and it's competitive, not with other authors, but other genres. Let's say some people just don't want to read about the Holocaust or don't read at all. And plus, you've got golf and you've got Netflix and Hulu and other things on the cell phones. And it's not the entertainment dollar; it's the entertainment time.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. What happens after writing a powerful historical memoir when you have no background in book marketing? Today, we welcome Dr. Robert J. Wolfe to dive into the rarely discussed terrain of launching a meaningful book in today's crowded market. While our previous conversation explored his father's extraordinary journey through the Holocaust and Hungarian Revolution that Rob documented in his book, Not a Real Enemy, today we'll uncover the complex marketing journey that followed.
Dr. Wolfe, welcome back to Be Bold Branding.
Thank you. This is a first for me. First time I've been invited back, so I appreciate it. It's really kind of you guys.
Yeah, for
our
sure.
Pleasure.
It's self-serving too, because we were so impressed with our last interview with you and your father's memoir. But at the end of that episode, you mentioned something that intrigued us, and so we are like, we got to get him back pretty quick on this, right on the heels of that. And it was the hard-hitting lessons that you learned about marketing, quote, marketing that book. So our first question right out of the bat was, when you finished the manuscript, Not a Real Enemy, what was your initial marketing plan?
That's such a great question. I don't know if I can remember that far back, but the plan came before the book was released for sure, because I was, I'm white knuckled. I have no experience with writing a book or sharing the story about a book. You could have the world's best book, you have the world's best story, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to sell copies. So there's that. I actually, in Boston, I went before I moved down here to Florida. There was, and before COVID even, I guess it was 2018 maybe, and I was green at the gills. I mean, I was just getting going. One of my book coaches says, just get the damn manuscript done. Get the thing written, because you procrastinate, you talk about marketing, you get on socials. Well, what I did do was I went to a meeting for authors that were doctors. And that was really a fruitful meeting. I learned all about social media. I had no idea what a book coach was, what a platform was. I was thinking platform diving because I was a swimmer. all these blurb and the pitch and elevator pitch and all these terms that I had no idea what they're talking about. And now it's all kind of second rate. What I tell the kids, I'm a recently retired radiologist, but I tell the kids, the younger ones in residency or medical students, and it's the same for authors. There's no substitute for experience. So, you're going to make your mistakes. There's going to be some trial and error. You're going to waste money, but you might make money too. So it is a very fickle business. And I'm being really general about it because everybody has their own experience, of course. But that meeting meant a lot. So I learned about X, back it was called Twitter. And Facebook I was already on, but I made it more. Now I'm only on socials for work, pretty much. I might look at a handful of personal posts, but it's a lot of time, but I highly recommend it. And one of the things they said at that meeting was you want to start your following early, way before your book's released. You got to get that moving, because it does take a lot of time. And then you're going to have followers that say, oh, this guy has 100,000 followers. I'm going to sell 10,000 books just from being connected with this guy. Doesn't work that way. And also when you write the manuscript, you think you sit back and you have one of those red Auerbach cigars and sip a little bit of whiskey or whatever, Coca-Cola, right? Atlanta is Coca-Cola country. And
yes.
You say, I'm going to hand it to the publisher and I'm going to sit back and collect royalties. It doesn't work that way. So, and you can almost work too hard, I think. And even my publisher says I'm working too hard, and maybe she's right. Step back and maybe let some of the growth go organically. But people like you, I would recommend, if somebody can afford it, they should hire PR people. Now, I don't know if you're going to get your money back, but you will learn a lot, and you might do well with it. I mean, you guys are professionals at this, and I'm not. So it was trial and error for me. We go back to high school. We had magazine sales. I won the magazine sale contest 3 years in a row. Why? Because I went to all my parents' rich friends' house, and I promoted the books, the magazines and then the Tufts Telefund when I was a senior, cold calling for alumni to contribute money. Who did I call? The repeat givers, the ones who gave the most, and stay with them rather than. You also mentioned earlier when we had our initial meeting about important podcasts or big podcasts versus small. And what I'm trying to do, they're all big, they're all important, because you never know when you're going to get that one right connection. A fellow author, you might get a
Right.
book talk producer, so you really never know. And this is in my particular case. But if you're stretched for time, you want to pick and choose where you go, where you travel as an author, where you do your book talks, your Zooms. But Podmatch is a great connection, by the way. I think I highly recommend it. It was kind of tough at first, but that's a great way for an author to promote their book at a reasonable price, $26 a month or whatever it is. Travel is the most expensive, but I'll tell you, people that want to sell books, they should want to travel. So not everybody has the same budget. I've spent a lot of money and time. Not everybody's got the same budget. At this doctors authors meeting, somebody said, they did the whole thing for $2,000, and another guy said it was $40,000 to get my book out and launched and promote. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a lot, and I'm way past that now. So, I get it. So, what else do you have to do with Fugazis? The Fugazis. If you saw Donnie Brasco, the Fugazis, the fakes, you get them all the time on social media. It's a waste. You got to block them. It's the Nigerian nightmare, the Ugandan orphanage, the crypto girl, bouncing boobs. It works. That's effective. I mean, boobs over books, right? So when you market, you gotta have something attractive. A pretty girl like your wife, a cute couple like you guys, a nice background, good graphics, a nature picture, a pet, something that's something that's going to capture somebody. So
something to stop the scroll.
Stop the scroll. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Stop the scroll. Common sense. I mean, what I would say to other authors, if you're going to post about your book or a talk, tighten up your posts. Make sure you edit your posts just like as you would a book, because posts that have mistakes in them, the period and the comma is all over the place, or they're not using the capital I where they should. The hashtags look ugly. That's stuff you learn too over time. But I do my hashtags, for example, in a pyramidal shape, or a decrescendo, as they say in music.
Right.
You can go crescendo, you go decrescendo, and I try to make them all capital or all small. Those little things. I don't know if it's going to sell books, but it makes your edits, it makes your posts more credible. If you're making mistakes as an author, you're not going to. It turns me off right away, So
sure. And
that's how I know half the Fugazis, because if you got one mistake on your post, on your pitch, you're out. I don't have time for that, So
no, that's true.
Yeah. So I rabble, but there is a lot to it. I try to reach out to as many platforms again as possible. But I think I might be at a little bit of a dead end now. It's I need to get new followers. I need to follow new people. I love LinkedIn, by the way. I think that's the best way to go if you're an author and you've got a serious book and trying to network. I think for me, it's been the most fruitful. But I have had connections on Instagram and X and of course Facebook, Meta. So, and I just joined TikTok and Blue Sky, and we're back to the boobs over books thing with the TikTok, and then they take you to these other sites, and they can be very addicting. I mean, it's a sad thing. So, how do you make your voice
a time waster?
How do you make your voice made? Yeah, and then it's like asking how do I do my dad's life story in 400 pages? How do you pitch a book? How do you query people?
Right.
How do you market? And a lot of authors hate marketing, and I can tell because the fellow Amsterdam authors, a lot of them have a really scarce exposure on the internet, and that's some of them are 75, 80, 85. I hope I'm not doing this when I'm 75, 85. I'd rather be chasing bikinis and golf balls rather than trying to get customers.
Yeah, boobs over
But
books.
I was about to say that. Michael beat me to it. He beat me to it. Well, let's back up just for a second, Rob, and talk about how you got the book deal in the first place. So your book was published by Amsterdam Publishers, which happens to be the largest publisher of Holocaust memoirs in Europe. How did you secure that relationship, first of all? Let's back up to the very beginning.
Exceptionally lucky, when I first did the book, it was autobiography to biography, very boring, A to B to C. Picked up a co-author, Janice, who's also a book coach, and she's written her own book, including how to get your PhD, how to become a PhD, and she wrote about Madagascar, interestingly, and a fellow Michigander. But anyway, once the book was done and we edited it, we copy edited it, and we had the historians review it, and then we had to get the testimonials. That's important too, by the way. That's we call it a blurb, I guess, on the back page. But you want to get credible testimonials. So we had 3 professors. They reviewed the history. We switched it up, And the book, the first round of the book was unsuccessful when we queried agents and publishers. But with Janice, we vetted out. She got us down to a list of about 12 or 15 plausible agents and publishers, realistic people that are in the know, people in the genre. And literally, bottom of the ninth, shoestring catch, we got Amsterdam publishers. And, we made the deal in about 2 days. Lisbeth Hink is a wonderful, she runs the place in Amsterdam, and a threatening area, unfortunately, for anti-Semitism right now. So she's a Christian lady doing this, and she does a phenomenal job. So we picked her up, and within 6 months, the book was released. And I still kept marketing heavily. And it's hard to market a book when it's not out. I mean,
Right.
Right.
too, when you don't have a product, how do you market it? But you still kind of, you do. And then you get the launch, and then you can talk about a real, and that's just such a proud day when the book is actually released. When it was for me, I was heading to Israel, which was an amazing coincidence. And at the time, I didn't have any reviews or anything like that, so I posted pictures of Israel. Which how do you go wrong with that? And got a lot of interest, And I would do that in any country where you visit, and there's a beautiful river, or a museum, or church, or whatever it is. So that helps. So, and I learn as I go. Every day, I'm learning new things. I've learned just from these podcasts. I've had a lot of good tips from podcasts and a lot of connections from podcasts. And my PR girl was expensive but good. 20 TV interviews and 4 radio interviews now.
Awesome.
It's awesome, but then she's gotten my book onto the shelves at Barnes and Noble and elsewhere. You walk into Barnes and Noble, there's my books on the shelves. Where the hell's my book? Oh, you got to go upstairs. It's in the back corner. And it's surrounded by 1,000 other books. Oh boy, I'm so special, So it's just it's the reality of it. So.
But Rob, that is a blessing that a lot of people don't have, honestly. Because if you think of all the books in the world versus the books that are in that brick and mortar space, it's a big difference. So what you mentioned this a little bit ago. I thought I could just to hire a publisher and then sit back and, collect the money or whatever, right? But there's a big difference between publishing and promoting. So what responsibilities did your publisher actually handle versus what responsibilities fell to you or your PR person?
Yeah, her name is Tamara. And if anybody's looking for an excellent, especially in the genre that I'm in, I think she might give you a nice discount because her heart and she's brilliant, and she taught me a lot, not just about PR, but it's helped with the podcast, and it helps with how you present yourself. But my publisher, notoriously, they don't do much. I'd say she's about 5 or 10%. She had the guts to go in with me on an audiobook, which wasn't real expensive, but she said she's never really made a lot of money on audiobooks. And people say, well, if you get a successful audiobook, it might bring people back to the regular book. So we tried it. It was a relatively inexpensive thing. She goes to book fairs, librarian meetings, Holocaust reading, that genre. So she's been to Paris, San Diego. She's a big traveler, and she helps out with that. She helps, it costs us a little bit of money, but she says, we get your book on the, not on the shelves, but on the display case. So she does a little. She gives me great advice. We talk about, she's still staying with me, even though we're not any New York Times bestseller. She's heartfelt, supportive of authors. And some people are still promoting their books, 10, 20 years later, which is, I like to see.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
Well, absolutely.
If you, the rest of it's me. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
I got no assistant. I got, many, many long days.
I love to see people writing their books and promoting their books 10, 20 years after they're promoted, because you write it for longevity. You don't write it just for a moment in time, right?
Sure.
Great point.
Our friend Bob Berg's still out there, promoting the Go-Giver and the Go-Giver series. I mean, that's 25 years old at least, if not 30. And, so I love that. Let me ask you this. What marketing approach yielded the most surprising success for you? Maybe one that you was like, oh, I didn't think that would work as good as it did.
Instagram. I mean, I need an assistant, and I read badly, and I'm interviewing somebody through a podcast connection from last week, which is great. And I hope he works out, because on Instagram, you can only follow 7,500 people. So every time you want to follow new people, you got to delete the people. And same with X and, Facebook and all that. So, but Instagram, I met he's a screenwriter. He's actually a professor from Rutgers, and he's a screenwriter, and he's Jewish, and he was interested in my project. And It's risky because you're doing business with somebody you don't know, but he's gone above and beyond the call, and we've queried. We did a pitch deck. We've queried a few producers. Unfortunately, the LA fires have been going on, and I've got to live in the moment here and be sensitive to what they're going through. So there may be some delays in the return, if at all. But he says he knows these people and they'll return yay or nay. I also have another producer that I'm meeting with in a couple of days through a different podcaster. So I'm getting more connections on podcasts, which is good. In London, I was at a genealogy meeting and met a couple of ladies from Florida, and they had to help me get a couple of book presentations here in Florida. So you never know. The guy that cleans my car, he does the details. He hooked me up with Avi Hoffman, who's a local actor, who hooked me up with Michael Berenbaum, a famous professor who's a Holocaust expert, and he did one of the testimonials, and he worked with Spielberg in the show movie. So you never know. I mean, and
never know.
You never know. He knows this guy who knows Tom Cruise. I said, Tom Cruise is the guy I want in the movie. All the running scenes. So it's unbelievable who you can meet. It's amazing.
We're only like 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, right? Wasn't that back in the day?
Yeah, that's
Kevin
right.
Bacon plays a mean guard. Kevin Bacon, that's the role, and so does Kiefer Sutherland. And the guy, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix, the guy from what was the movie? Gladiator. He was the
Yes.
Oh yeah. He's a great.
Yul Brynner, if he was still around, man, was he? I mean, Westworld and the Ten Commandments.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. No, I mean, and we're building our takeaways. We do. I think we did it on the show that you were on, but we always pull 3 takeaways from everything, and so we're pulling those takeaways from your good advice. You really, you're such a humble person. I know you're like, I don't know, I'm just still hacking at it, but you really do have really good, sensible advice to people who are in the same boat. And so all of this is on you, right? You gotta be out here marketing this thing, slinging this thing every day.
It's hard. I mean, you wake up some days and like I say, nobody gives a bleep about anti-Semitism, including myself, but I don't mean it, but you get discouraged. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And
right.
I'm staying with it. I think the subject matter is too important right now to give up, and it is a good story. So
it's a great story.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of people like you that care, that actually take the time. Here's another expression I heard. There's good narcissism and there's bad narcissism. I heard that at that doctor's office.
I like it.
And I get it, and I say, they did a craniotomy where they took out my humility bone a long time ago. So I'm not afraid of rejection. But I got to say, I hate being ghosted. If you're not interested in having me do a talk or whatever the case may be, a book signing, then just say no and we'll move on. But getting ghosted, we're interested, send me the book and this and that, and you're all excited. I'm going to go to LA, I'm going to Houston, and things fall through sometimes. So you can't.
They do.
Yeah, that's a great lead into this. Yep.
Years ago, me and Tanya had a friend out in California that was and you might remember her name faster than I will, but Linda. She had been a news anchor, so been on the news, Southern California for years, 20 years or something like that. And so she had hung it up and, was doing other things. And she was writing a book and going on auditions and stuff like that. And so we were talking to her one time. She said, yeah, about an hour, I got to go for an audition for a commercial or something like that, or a movie or whatever it was. And so then 2 weeks later, we were talking to her and we're like, hey, how did your audition go? And she's like, what are you talking about? And we're like, the audition, you said audition. She goes, I go to auditions every day. And she goes, oh, I remember the one. Yeah, it was for a commercial or whatever it was like that. And we're like, yeah. And we were so taken aback at her attitude towards it. And she goes, listen, this is how it works. She said, you go to the audition and you do the best you can. You do what they ask you to do. And if they're your people, they'll call you back. And if they're not, then they're not your people. And it was eye-opening to Tanya and I. And so, hopefully our listeners out there hearing what you're saying and stuff, we don't like to be ghosted, but at the end of the day, let's remind yourself you got a good project and keep going. Your people are waiting on you. Hurry up and get to them. Yeah.
Different than radiology. You walk into the office, the hospital, the work's waiting for you. You don't need to promote. You don't need to market. Whoever's in the ER, the ICU, they don't want to be there. And who had CAT scans and dog scans and MRIs. For me, it's different. It's a different business. And
it is.
You have to approach it that way.
Yes. Right. Let me ask you this question, because I think there is just a a big myth in the author world that when you get your book, all of a sudden you're going to be hired and people are going to pay you anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 per appearance to show up and talk about your book. And I know that's not the way it is.
No.
Tell me what has been your experience with actually going out for speaking engagements to help promote your book.
Well, I'm happy and privileged to say this is my 96th podcast. I'm almost at 100. I've done 36 book presentations. They're all different. We're back to this don't have high expectations thing because you shouldn't. You don't know what to expect. And then the 24 TV and radio interviews. So some were live in person, which is an amazing experience. And but when I go out live and I dress up, I try to get there early, meet people, ask the audience a few questions. The gold standard in my experience so far was the Chicago, the Illinois Holocaust Museum. They gave me a stipend. They paid for my travel. We did a Q&A. We did a fireside chat, the talk, and a long Q&A, and then the book signing itself. And it was a really fantastic experience to say, oh, every place is going to be like this, but it's not like that. So I've been to a place where there were 60 people in the audience, and it was a really wealthy community, gated community here in Florida. I sold one book or maybe two books. Another Holocaust museum, I sold more books at the airport pitching people than I did at that particular Holocaust center. So you never know. I mean, it's all a surprise, and you got to go with an open mind. You're going to meet people, great people like you, people that care. And if they don't buy books, they don't buy books. But sometimes you get, you got to come talk at my place, or you got to let's do a Zoom or a podcast, and you get that too. So a wide variety, big gamut.
That segues into this question. Like, if you were starting this journey over and again, and I know you're still, we're all still learning something new every day, but like, if you started this journey over today with what you've learned, what would you do different?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, do we have an hour? I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm in college again, like eating dinner at midnight, pizza and Chinese food, or my bar mitzvah time where, you had to cram in a lot or medical school even. But there was a lot of things I wouldn't do. I wouldn't randomly reach out to polishing editors. That might have been a waste of a couple grand. I paid this kid to help me go viral. He was viral on Instagram. I paid too much up front, and he ghosted me. And that was about the time of my book release, and I was in Israel. There's nothing I could do about it. And that was really, anybody would steal from a guy who is trying to fight anti-Semitism, talk about the Holocaust is, as they say in the 10 Commandments, lower than the dust. So if I track this guy down, if I beat him up, then I'm no better than he is. I'm no better than Hitler or all these jerks, So anyway, what goes around comes around. But that's spend your money carefully. My co-author was worth every penny. She was really good. A little expensive, but she made the difference. I mean, if it weren't for her, we wouldn't be here. And then the guy that did my book cover, he was $500. I thought that was a steal, and the audio version, maybe $2,000, something like that. That was a steal. So you're going to have good and bad with that. No substitute for experience. Pay what you can afford. I'd say get help. I think that's important, whether it's you guys or my PR girl or social media experts. Take a load off, get some help if you can. And I say that in general too, whether you're in medicine, we get stubborn, if a loved one dies, that kind of thing, get assistance. It makes a difference.
It's great. That's really great advice. And we are big believers. We have coaches, right? We've been doing this game for 13 years. She's been doing it for 30, right? I'm in the real estate business for 30 years. I still have coaches. There's always somebody that sees something from something else that you're not coming from, right? We can get into minutia. So that's really great advice. You got to, and we do need a vetting. We live in a world right now. We've talked about this a lot that, everybody can claim they're a coach. They claim they're perfect at this or that or that or this or that. And, vet your coaches really well, I think was what I was hearing from you too.
I agree. And it doesn't guarantee you're going to, you could have everybody tells me, oh, you're doing all the right things. You're doing it perfectly. This is it. Your pitches are great. Your posts are good. You're hiring the right, and it still doesn't mean you're going to sell books. It's a fickle business, and it's competitive, not with other authors, but other authors too, other genres, let's say. Some people just don't want to read about the Holocaust or don't read at all. And plus you've got golf and you've got Netflix and Hulu and other things on the cell phones. And, it's not the entertainment dollar, it's the entertainment time. And I'm delinquent. I'm derelict in that too, myself, truthfully. So
we live in a world where a lot of roads are coming at us all the time.
That's well said. I couldn't say it better. No doubt. So.
Well, I stole it from Willie Nelson. So
love it. I just thought about him the other day. A guy looked just like him. It was funny. You mentioned him. Small world. And by the way, I'm going to be in Atlanta just at the airport next weekend. I'm going to the University of South Carolina for my first university talk, and my publisher loves it, and I hope I get a lot of them. But we're landing in Savannah and then driving up to South Carolina. So I'll be in Europe. Yes. I'll be in Allman Brothers country. Hotland. I love that song.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
That's right. Well, we were going to ask you what's what's next for you. So you're going to be at the University of South Carolina.
Yeah, that's through a friend from high school, through Facebook, through Meta. So small world and never burn your bridges. That's the lesson there. I'm in talks with Yale. I did a year at Yale in neuroradiology, so I'm in the talks with the Alumni Association. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll get a talk in November there during Alumni Weekend, and that would be big. I'm going to Vegas in June for a live in studio podcast. That's my first. I'm like, I got a airline credit. Why not go to Vegas? And so that's a Podmatch connection too. So I look forward to that. And I don't know. I'm Michigan. We've got our class reunion coming up. I might get a second talk there. We'll see. It was really well received. That was 80 books sold and with an inventory. Backlogged. Amazing night. So you never know what to expect. But hopefully that Massachusetts. Probably not for a talk, and whatever else I can get. I don't say no to anything. I would go to Alaska. I go to Hawaii. I go to South Africa. South Africa is a difficult country for multiple reasons, but I'm just saying, for example, I know people there now, so I don't say no to anything, and unless it's completely unaffordable, or maybe I'll say no to the South Pole, but that's intriguing too. Or Greenland. How about Greenland?
Hey, if they'll buy books in Antarctica, you'll go to Antarctica, won't you?
You're damn straight. I'll be on the next plane to Chile or wherever I got to go, and then hit the archipelago, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Wolf, you are a fantastic interview. We always run out of time. We got 1,000 other things we'd like to talk to you about. Definitely when you are around Atlanta in any way, shape, or form for any length of time, you got to let us know. I'd love to meet you personally. That's so kind. We love to continue to help you support this book, this cause, what it stands for, especially in this age that we live in right now. And, there should not be any anti-Semitism at all. There should not be any
I agree. No, right. We shouldn't have to have this conversation. No.
Exactly. And hopefully we can all hold our candle up and spread that light and dispel all the darkness in the world at some point. That would be great.
Can't say it better myself. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we like to talk about our takeaways, and then we'll finish up with the last question with you. But my takeaways, I had to put it in here, was the no substitute for experience. That's definitely one of the best takeaways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And number 2, I love it when you said you found out from the doctor's conference there's good narcissism and bad narcissism, right?
Love that.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the difference, but you got to boast. If you're going to talk about your book, you get that elevator pitch, you get 60 seconds. You got to make it good. You have to make it good.
Well, it's kind of like, personal branding, which of course is what we do. And we talk about, when people say, well, I just feel very uncomfortable talking about myself all the time and putting myself out there. And we tell them, a great brand is not about look at me. It's about look at what I can do for you. Look at what I'm sharing with you. And I think that really is what you're talking about. It's not really obviously there are narcissists out there, but it's really about promoting something you care very much about and sharing that meaningful word or story that removes the narcissism because it's helping someone else. So
I try not to use the word I so much, or me. I'll say Team Irvin, or the CTA, which I thought was computed tomography and geography, but CTA, call to action. So that's the big thing. And even when I do a talk and everybody applauds, I point to the book. It's my dad's. I don't want me to be famous. I want my product to be famous. My dad's story. That's the thing. He deserves it a lot more than I do, because my growing up was a lot easier than what he had to go through, for sure.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, our third takeaway is it's not the entertainment dollar, it's the entertainment time. I like that a lot.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
It's so true. And time is our only commodity. I might have mentioned that, but it's not stocks, bonds, real estate, crypto. It's time. That's, so make good use of it. I probably said that the last time. And write a book if you have a story. But don't carry expectations too far. Kind of go with it with an open mind. The best advice I can give. And you'll have your good days and bad days, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Wolf, thank you so much again. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your mission, and we'll have you back again sometime. Heck, this could never end.
Revisit,
Yeah, I like
let's
it. We got
fall. Let's
round three.
revisit in the fall. Maybe I'll have more information. Maybe
There you go.
maybe we'll be
Perfect.
at peace and anti-Semitism will be gone, and we can talk about sports and music and
That'd be
food,
great.
sex and whatever else.
Boobs
Boobs
over books.
Yeah.
Boobs over books.
That should be our fourth takeaway. Guys, you're competing in a world where there's boobs over books. Your books have to stand out.
That's right.
Your books and your brand must stand out more
God
than
bless
the
you guys.
boobs. All right. Thank
God
you
bless
so
you guys.
much again.
Thank
You
you.
bet. God bless you.
Yeah, thanks.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at BrandFaceGuide.com.